Hey everybody, welcome back to Rook's Recipes. It is Thursday evening. It's a weeknight, but that doesn't mean we can't eat very well. So tonight we're going to make another seafood dish. We're going to cook salmon. This is a piece of salmon that we got from Costco. So it's about a pound of salmon, and we got two nice pieces that we're going to cook. Now, we're going to do something that I learned to do. I was first introduced to this in the early 90s. I took one of my early business trips to Austin, Texas, and I stayed in a hotel that was near a restaurant called Pappadeaux's. And I'll spell that for you on the screen. But Pappadeaux's, it was also, the subtitle was Louisiana Seafood Kitchen. And I had a piece of fish there, and I don't remember what the piece of fish was. It might have been red snapper. I love red snapper. But many of their fish dishes came with whatever, type of fish, a red snapper, whatever, and then a ladling of kind of a seafood garnish. And a lot of them had things like crawfish and crab meat and shrimp. And so they would serve a piece of fish, and they would take like a ladle, and then they would ladle that kind of seafood sauce over the top. And I thought it was fantastic. And so I learned to make it. It's not difficult to learn how to make. And there's a lot of different variations. Like I said, they had probably 5 different kinds of sauce you could get and 5 different kinds of fish. You maybe have been to a pasta place where they say, well, pick a pasta and pick a sauce. That's the way Pappadeaux's seafood kitchen was. It was pick a fish that you like and then pick a topping that you like. So what we're going to make tonight, and by the way, we're going to use 2 store-bought products to make this come off. But if you saw us a week ago, we made scallops. Well, here's a scallop. 1 scallop. I took it out of the freezer and thawed it. And I always like to keep a 2-pound bag of nice shrimp in the freezer too. These are uncooked, but peeled and deveined frozen shrimp we got from Costco. Now I'm gonna make this little seafood sauce to go on this salmon, and I'm gonna blacken the salmon too. So what do we call this, Renee? Executive producer, what do we call this? Dan is what? Getting?
Carried away.
Carried away. I was just gonna make salmon, and then I got carried away. So what we're going to do with the seafood is this is about 3 tablespoons of chopped spring onion and 2 cloves of garlic. This is actually lime peel of a lime. This is cilantro, and this is fresh squeezed lime juice. And with a little bit of oil and a little bit of butter, we're gonna mix this little seafood relish up. That's the first thing that we're going to do. So with my new, only a week old Sam the Cooking Guy knife, I'm going to cut these pieces of seafood into small pieces, Or it's a cucumber. Butt that knife up, see how I butt that knife up against my fingers, against the flat part of my fingers, and cut. There's nothing in the way that can get sliced, okay? So, your cutting lesson for today. So these things cook at the same speed, so they and you can see, half of that'll go on one piece of the fish and half of that'll go on the other piece of the fish. And we're also going to have these vegetables that I mentioned. So first thing we're going to do is put a little bit of oil in this hot little skillet that's been cooking on the cast iron there. And then I'm going to put a little bit of butter in there because flavor and because cool. And a little butter. And that's cooking up nicely. So, first thing is the onion and garlic. And we're going to let those get hot, kind of wilt, as they say, W-I-L-T. Who's the most famous wilt in the world ever? Wilt Chamberlain. Yes. Played some basketball. Scored 100 points in a game once against when he was playing for the, I think he was playing for the Philadelphia or maybe the Minnesota Lakers, I forget. Okay, that's smelling really good. Oh, I mentioned seasoning. This is our first seasoning. Now we love these Grill Mates seasoning mixes, seasoning and marinade, and we're going to use a little bit of this to get the kind of flavor we want. And we kind of want a Mexican, Tex-Mex, even Baja, Baja California kind of vibe. And we love this particular seasoning mix. So this is what's going to be in our little relish. So I'm going to take this over here and get this seafood in here. This does not take long. Okay, that's in there. Then we just have the lime and the cilantro. Get it back on here. I'm gonna switch to a spoon. And as you know, if you've watched my show or if you've cooked, you know that shrimp take mere moments to cook. If you cut them up like this, they take even fewer moments. So we're not gonna let this cook for very long because we want it to be delicate and not rubbery and not overcooked. Okay, so that's looking really good. See how the shrimp are starting to turn their little red? They're doing their little turning red thing. Okay, that's really good. And then after I get this into the dish, we're going to begin on the salmon. I'm going to put the lime peel in here before I take this off, but I'm going to reserve the lime juice and the cilantro for when we take this off, right? Because the lime is best when it's fresh and it's not cooked. If you go down to Baja California, they will tell you that. And cilantro is also best fresh. So now you can see this is what we're going to just kind of scoop this on top of our fish when our fish is ready. And I think those little bits of seafood are done. Okay, 2 to 3 minutes is what you want, and that's what we've got. So, okay. Now let's going to set this aside. Why am I going to take this out of this pan? Because it will keep cooking. This pan is solid steel, and it will keep cooking if I don't take it out. So it's coming out. It's going to go into this little dish here, and that will stop the cooking as quickly as possible. All right, that can go there. Now, okay. So I'm going to cover this up, and we're going to get over to the salmon now. The second store-bought. Now, people who like to cook all day would say, don't buy spice mixes in the store. You can make them, and it's true, you can. You can look at what's on the the label, and you can make your own spice mix. Sometimes we do. You don't always have a ton of time, and it's nice to have some go-to spice mixes that you can use. If you've ever heard of Paul Prudhomme, he makes an incredible blackening mix, and there's one called blackened seafood magic, and there's one called blackened redfish magic, and we have seafood magic tonight. So what happens with this stuff is that you dredge the fish, and you can do this with any kind of fish that you choose. You dredge should be a firm fish, I should say. You dredge the fish in butter, and then you pour this on until it forms a crust with the butter on the fish, and then you sear it. So what we've got over here is we've got some hot cast iron. Sorry, honey. And we've got some melted butter. So I'm basically just going to put these in the butter and get them wet. Do the same thing with this one. And then I'm going to take this wonderful stuff and just drizzle it on there like that. Now some of this stuff is in little hunks. That's okay. I'm not going to go too nuts about this. you know, cover it as much as you can. So what's going to happen now is we're going to put these on that pan without any shortening or oil or anything, because they're covered in butter. Okay, and then once we get them on the pan, we're gonna sprinkle the seasoning on the other side. So here we go. This should be, this should take about, I would say, 6 minutes or so, maybe 3 minutes aside. Okay. All right, now I'm just gonna make sure I got plenty of butter on this side. Oh, that's lovely. And then I'm going to sprinkle more. I'm trying to get the chunks out of this because I haven't used it in a while. Paul Prudhomme's Blackened Seafood Magic. Okay? Okay. So these pieces of salmon, at their thickest part, you can see they're about an inch or more thick. We like our salmon medium rare, so we like it still a little bit of a dark color in the middle, maybe the middle third of it. It's almost a guard against overcooking it, because nobody likes dry salmon, I don't think. Okay, so we're multiplexing. Renee's run in to get some cilantro, and I'm going to turn these salmon pieces over. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Let's do the other one. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I think I cooked them about 4 to 5 minutes on a side. It all depends on how hot your griddle is. But we want those to cook another couple minutes, and we want to try not to cook them all the way through, okay? And we talked a little bit about sushi. You know, salmon is a very common element of sushi, and that means that if it's a little bit raw in the middle, that's way better than a little bit overdone. And here comes our executive producer. She's out with
the platter.
Okay.
Will that do?
This will be fine. So it's been about 3 minutes on this side, and I'm feeling it. That means I'm pretty sure they're done. There's no question that they're done down here. They're probably a little bit overcooked down here, but you want them, you know, this is what we're focused on, is the thickest part of the fillet. So we're going to put that there. Put that there. They're quite dark and crispy, lovely looking. And so then this is becoming, we're getting right down to the end of it here. And that means that this little garnish, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to put the lime juice that I told you about. I'm going to put the lime juice in here because it's baja, and stir that up just a bit. Now, a lot of the sauces that I saw at Papado's were creamy. You can make this creamy by putting in heavy cream and doing some thickening and stuff, but this is not. And then we're just going to put in some fresh chopped cilantro, and we're going to leave it about like that. And then when we finish, we'll put a little bit more directly on the fish, or on the finished product. So there's your scallops, or scallop, 2 shrimp, onion, a spring onion that is, garlic, and lime peel, lime juice, and cilantro. Oh boy, so here we go. On blackened, Louisiana blackened salmon. No need to hold any of this back. If I was a real chef, I might go like that. I might go like this, just because they like to do that four corners thing. And lovely. Wow. So, you know, we were just gonna cook salmon, and salmon's wonderful, and there's lots of different ways to cook it, but I thought, oh, why not? Why not do this very, very special, extra special preparation? And I would put just a little bit of more fresh cilantro here, here, and here. And then we are ready to taste it. I would say this is Dan's Louisiana salmon a la papado. All right, don't have a fork. I'm not gonna use the knife. If those of you that watched our show last week, you saw me actually put that knife in my mouth without incident, but I'm not gonna do that again. I'm not gonna tempt fate again. All right, so I'm gonna cut right into the middle of this so that you can see what it looks like in the middle. Now, that is, I hope the light is good, but you should be able to see that this color and that color are different than that color in the middle. And the texture, you can see the grain more here and here than in the middle. You can't see the grain. So this is like, I would call this medium salmon. And we can do other shows on salmon and talk a little bit more about how to cook it, but you definitely don't want it cooked the same color and the same texture all the way through. And we used 2 different store-bought seasoning mixes to facilitate speed on a weeknight. That's just as good as the papado's preparation that I had in like 1992. Let's see what Sherlock thinks. Now, he's not gonna like this because it's got too many spices in it and it's got lime in it, and he doesn't like that, you know, that bitter taste of lime, but we're gonna give him a try. Mr. Program Observer, what do you think of this salmon dish? Not much, he says. Well, he says, where are those ribeyes? Renee, do you want to taste?
Sure.
All right, here goes.
Wonderful.
Thank you for watching. We love you. Leave a comment. Please subscribe and try this. This is not that difficult. I just did it in, I don't know, record time, probably 22 minutes. Bye for now. We'll see you next week.